Call this meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock according to Verizon time. Let's see. Cam, Miss Amanda, will you please call the roll?
Yes.
Sorry, I throw you off guard.
Ms. Auburn, you're on.
Commissioner Martin,
Present.
Commissioner Harbert,
Here.
Commissioner Shipley. Here. Commissioner Chauffeur,
Here.
Commissioner Aiken,
Here.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
All right. Determined that we do have a quorum with all members present. First thing up on the agenda is the approval of minutes from our regular commission meeting that we had. Last time we fully met under this capacity was back in September, I believe it was 15th of 2022. If you have a chance, please review those for minutes. Any questions or not, just ask.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Got a motion by Commissioner Moore,
Second.
second by Commissioner Harbert. Is there any other discussion on the matter? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is reports for the Code Enforcement Monthly Report. Mr. Mark, it's all you, bud.
Good evening, everyone. As you can see on your the chart, it's a slow month as usual for December. Usually everything slows down, and our report reflects that. If you have any questions, I can answer those for you, but otherwise I think it's self-explanatory.
Not too many pool permits in December.
A lot of fence permits though.
Good, that looks good. Any questions for Mr. Mark? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next up we have is the administrative plat approvals. This is for Stroud and Turner plat. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission. Good evening to everybody. I want to give a little background on this first and why this is on the agenda, and kind of give you a sneak preview of what's to come in future meetings as well. As you know, in the subdivision regulations, there's a procedure for minor plats. There's also a procedure for administrative plats. Administrative plats are 2 lots or less that don't require any sort of public improvements or anything like that. They can be approved administratively, and then what we do is just report them to the Planning Commission. So these type of administrative approvals are not here for action on your part, just to let you know that this has been done. And I'd say recently we've probably had 4 or 5 of these coming recently. They're in some part of the process, missing information, waiting on getting stuff back and forth from the surveyor or developer in some cases. So there'll be more coming, we believe, at some point. Now, one key note here is since we are reporting these to you, if you see anything on one of these that you have a question about or concern about, you can let us know and we will investigate those. I was already talking to Commissioner Moore before the meeting about this plat and a question about the right-of-way and the dedication of right-of-way. So we're going to look into that outside of this meeting. If something does have to come back to you, we will bring it back to this body if it does require your approval at some point. So that would be the process going forward. Are there any questions about this plat in particular? This is a Stroud plat, really taking 2 lots and sort of recreating 2 lots out of this.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, make mention of just what my recollection is from when this plat, or the Cedar Ridge plat was approved, that I guess created what is basically shown as Lot 2 on this new plat here, before the lot line adjustment was done. So that's that single, I guess, cul-de-sac kind of, it's right next to Dollar General, correct? So kind of between Dollar General and Oak Creek, got, I don't know, a dozen or so houses on it. And I remember, at least on the south side of it, we had them do the right-of-way widening. They widened Rosemark out to 3 lanes and added a sidewalk where that lot fronts on Rosemark. We didn't have them do it on this lot here on the north side. I think it's mainly because that portion of the lot did not front Rosemark Road, so we couldn't make them do that as part of that. What we would have if the lots would have looked like this. So I just wondered, did we miss an opportunity to at least have that discussion and see if that's something that we would want to consider? I mean, at the very least, extending it across that lot that was included in the original subdivision, and possibly even extending it the full length of this proposed 2-lot subdivision, because at some point Rosemark is going to be widened, and it's whether the town has to pay to do the full width or these developments as they kind of come through here, how that's done.
Yeah, so perfect example of what we could do in this situation. What we'll do, investigate it, and either at your next meeting, we'll bring back a report to you on what the more detailed information is on that point, or we'll bring an item for your action to consider. If there is the need for getting additional right-of-way, we will bring either one of those back to this body.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we do not have any old business. The next item up is for new business. Of course, it's in our bylaws that we do the election of officers in January. So at this time, I'm gonna step aside as chairman, and I'm gonna give the floor back to Jim so that he can do nomination of officers.
So I am the designated staff person to handle this election. So I'll propose a way we can handle this, I think fairly simply. First thing we'll do is take nominations. Anybody who wants to nominate somebody else for chairperson, we'll get those names on the floor. If there's only one nomination, we can elect by acclamation. I mean, if there's no opposition to doing so. If there's more than one nomination, we'll do a roll call vote for each of the nominees, and then the one with the most votes will be the chairperson. Once we elect the chair, then the chair will retake the meeting from me. Any questions on that process? Okay, we can open it up then to nominations. Anybody want to make a nomination?
I nominate Steve Shelton for chairman.
I'll second that. Can I second that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Other nominations? Going once, going twice. No other nominations? All right. With no other nominations, by acclamation, we will re-elect Stephen as our chairperson. And then I will happily turn the meeting back over to the new chair.
Appreciate it. Sometimes it's a blessing or a curse. We'll figure it out. So we'll see by next January. All right, so the next position up is for vice chair. So at this point in time, we'll open the floor up for nominations for vice chair. Any nominations? I gotta have somebody.
I'll nominate King.
Okay, that's fine. Nomination, Keith?
Okay.
Okay.
I second.
Have a second? Okay. Is there any other nominations? Hearing none, determine Keith vice chair by acclamation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Go. Congratulations, Keith. Thank you. Good for 4 or 5 months.
There we go.
All right, next up is for the position of secretary. That position, sorry Keith, I didn't identify you before as previously holding the vice chair spot, but you're good. Secretary has been previously held by Ms. Vicki Shipley. Of course, that position is now on the floor. So are there any nominations for secretary?
Would you like it?
It's,
Gotta be local to sign, that helps.
yeah, I know, but I don't mind doing it. It's just that sometimes I'm out of town when Amanda needs me to do things. So why don't I nominate you to do that?
Okay, so we have a nomination
Yeah.
for Commissioner Harper.
Now,
Second.
I guess I want to make sure I have no objection to John doing it at all, but I recall last time we went through this, I thought it couldn't be.
Oh, that's
elected
right.
official. Yes.
That's right,
Right.
can't do that.
So-
Okay.
If it was
Do
for
you
that,
want to
I-
draw it?
Yeah, I would
Draw a
draw it.
motion. Okay, all right, any other? No, I got it. You guys are bored, I'm just here to, they got it through.
Already went to.
And there, so if there.
I'm an elected official too.
Can't we do something if I'm not here that we can get?
So that is in the bylaws, so if you're not here, then I'm accessible.
Okay.
So that is in the bylaws that we do.
Can we do that? Do that, Jim?
So,
You signed off on those bylaws, man?
yeah.
Yes, yes. And actually, that's, if I remember correctly, that's in the set of bylaw change
we
that we're gonna
did.
make in
Okay.
February to make that happen, but I think everyone sort of understood and
So
agreed to
that'll
doing
go.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I nominate Vicky.
All right.
There we go.
I got it.
I'll second that.
All right, appreciate it. So I got a nomination for Vicki Shipley. Is there any other nominations? Hearing none, nominate Vicki as position of secretary by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, good job. Congratulations.
Is that what that is?
Next up, Under new business, it's recommendations to amend Title 14, Section 101 of the Atoka Municipal Code regarding the creation and membership of the Municipal Regional Planning Commission. Mr. Jim, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. And as you recall, this is one of the items we talked about at the work session from a couple of 3 weeks ago. This would simply make two changes in here, and really the bottom line is we have three documents that we definitely want to make consistent. One, our municipal code, the Planning Commission bylaws, and of course TCA is a big part of that. To do that, there are a few minor modifications to the municipal code that are necessary, and here are the two. The first one involves if the mayor decides to appoint a designee to serve on the Planning Commission instead of himself, he would have the ability to choose any citizen of Atoka, not just another alderman to serve. The current municipal code says it has to be an alderman of his or her designation. This would change it to a person designated by the mayor, period, at that, which would open it up a little bit. Now, that is really moot in this case because the mayor is choosing to serve on the Planning Commission. So this will be probably a factor in future commissions, but not this one currently. The second one is simply the length of term. We currently have 5 years in our municipal code. TCA calls for 4 years, so we'd make that change from 5 to 4 in here. Attached to your staff report is a draft ordinance that if you send it forward with a positive recommendation would be on the agenda for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for consideration on first reading.
We have a motion to give a positive recommendation to the Mayor and Board of Aldermen.
I'll make a motion that we give a positive recommendation to the mayor and board alderman.
All right. I have a motion by Commissioner Harder. Do I have a second? Second. All right. I have a second by Commissioner Moore and Commissioner Smith. All right. Is there any other discussion on the matter? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is recommendation to reinstate Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals training requirements. Mr. Jim?
Thank you. Another ordinance or draft ordinance that we discussed at a recent work session. The town of Atoka chose to exclude themselves from the state training requirement for planning commissioners and Board of Zoning Appeals members. That was done in early 2004. The state requires that every member of the Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission receive 4 hours of training every year to stay current. And of course, we as a town haven't had that requirement for a long time. Not sure the reason why we pulled ourselves out of that, but we don't. There's been a desire to reinstate that requirement, which would mean that you, along with the Board of Zoning Appeals members, would be required to obtain 4 hours of training every year. And we talked about different ways that could be done and how we plan to accomplish that training throughout the year, here locally, which we could do. So attached to your staff report is a draft ordinance that if you agree and want to send forward a positive recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, this would be the ordinance that would be delivered to them.
I'll make a motion that we provide a positive recommendation to reinstate the Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals training requirements ordinance.
I have a motion by Commissioner Moore. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Smith. Any other discussion on the matter? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up on the agenda is miscellaneous items from the Planning Commission. Board, the floor is yours. No? All right, hearing none, citizen concerns? Matt, Danny, you got anything? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn. Any objection? Without objection, we stand adjourned.
Very nice.
That's.
That's what I was talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you.